Hello, and today we'll be playing day 3 for Vlad. Health and calculus went pretty much the same way. The professors made an announcement about the security guards and cameras, informed us about Tucker's funeral, then let us off easy with some review work. Finally, lunchtime rolled around. I checked my phone. Vlad had said to send him a text if I didn't run into him, but maybe he'd taken the initiative. Nope, nothing. And so I had two options. Two places to look around for the vulture and two places where I could grab some lunch. And thinking it over, I head towards the Along the way, I passed a few more of the security guards posted around the campus. So many uniformed animals just standing around got my shoulders tensed up, but I did my best to ignore it and tried not to think about the reason why they were all there in the first place. A deep breath in, then a slow and even one out. The dining hall wasn't as busy as it had been on my first day, but there wasn't the oppressive silence from the day before hanging in the air either. Everything seemed to be pretty much back to normal, save for the security guards at the entrance, and the strained expressions here and there, and the way everyone seemed to be keeping to themselves for the most part. I looked around, scanning the food line and then the tables. No sign of Vlad either. I did run into Tucker at least, and Owen was sitting at the same out-of-the-way table over in the corner where I had seen him on Monday. What better chance to get the two of them introduced? The orca was a little withdrawn, but even he was no match for Connor. A few jokes from the cheery rooster and some reassurances from me got him opening right back up. A few jokes from the cheery rooster and some reassurances from me got him opening right back up. By the time I had to run to make it to biology, I'd almost completely forgotten about Tucker's murder. Hey, wanted to send a text like you said. Just got out of band, so let me know where you want to meet up. Deep breath in, heavy sigh out. I still hadn't run into Vlad, hadn't received any texts from him either. And as I lingered outside the music building, watching the other students in jazz band head off in pairs or small groups, I started to get a little worried. Was he busy with classes or something? I kind of gotten the impression that he was pretty unsociable normally, but I didn't know if maybe he had other friends on campus. Was he asking them about the investigation maybe? Or had something come up at his work? It was still pretty early in the afternoon, but I had no idea what kind of preparations he'd need to do for his performances. And he did have the day off on Tuesday. But then that still begged the question of why he hadn't texted and wasn't responding to the text I had sent. I sighed, scratched and rubbed at my nape, took a deep breath and let it out slowly. I was probably just overthinking that. I mean, he was the first friend I made outside of the lab complex. He probably just had other things to deal with at the moment. I could be patient. I mean, that's how things had been at a lab complex, right? Waiting for Camille and Connor to return from school, or for the researchers to call me Boo. I just right upright and did not let out a strangled snarl of surprise, then rolled around to face the sniggering vulture. So I couldn't resist. He just looked so cute, all lost in thought like that. It's fine. With a cough to clear my throat, then a quiet rumble as I wailed at my name, I straightened up and gave him a nod. So, how you doing today? Could be better, could be worse. You? Pretty much the same, just getting through classes and all that. And the world turns and life goes on. Huh? He nodded towards the west of the campus where students were milling around in small groups or making their way to whatever classes they might have next. Or heading to the library to study, or the student center, or over to the dining hall for a late lunch. If it wasn't for all the security guards milling around, it would be easy to... Oh. I gritted my teeth, took a deep breath in through my nose. Don't worry too much about it. Let them live their petty lives. Let them live their petty little lives in ignorance. You and me, we got an investigation to focus on, yeah? A sigh gusted out of me as I nodded. Yeah. Where should we start? I still think our best bet is getting some dirt on Liam. The rest of the football team could probably help with that. Maybe. But besides, they're probably going through a lot of shit now that their head asshole is around. Better to avoid the whole damn pile, don't you think? You think they want to talk about it now with us? Maybe, maybe not. We've got to strike while the iron's hot, right? Come along, Rex. The game is afoot. Somewhat bemused, I followed at the vulture's heel as we headed towards the athletic complex, and from there we made our way out to the practice field. So many large, bulky males mingling together, slamming into solid rectangles of padded foam on weighted sleds, or doing push-ups on the sidelines, or sprinting from one line on the grass to another in displays of agility. Grunting, huffing, panting. You're drooling. I dumped my head and wiped my dry. Thank you very much. Chin with the back of my hand, Vlad snickered and gave me a pat on the back. Remember, we're here for more than just the eye candy. I know. With a quiet huff of my own, I started scanning the field for any sign of Liam. That was Professor Payton from Health directing a few groups of players through their drills. The polar bear telling us to call him Coach suddenly made so much more sense. Wyatt was part of the group doing sprints out on the field, his expression set in a glower of concentration. Wyatt was part of the group doing sprints out on the field, his expression set in a glower of concentration, and there was Camille over by the bleachers speaking with a shark, a Komodo dragon, and a panda I also recognized from Health. That lion stalking back and forth, scowling and snarling, was that Gary, Yusuf. Don't just prance your asses around. Hustle. Kadir, you up now. Move it. Well, it seems like somebody is settling in as the new king of the jungle quite nicely. I glanced over at the vulture. Vlad was staring hard at the field, taking everything in, his gaze focused for the most part on the lion. He's like a completely different person today. Or he's finally getting a chance to show his true colors. And I don't just mean the new do. I felt my own brow furrowing. Was that really all that was going on? Do you think? Maybe, maybe not. but I do think it would be a good idea to see how the rest of the team feels about Leon's ascension to the throne at least. Again he led, and I followed. Towards the field, over to the bleachers, dodging glances from the football team and coach, and "Hey!" Shit. I could feel my shoulders and jaw tensing up as he approached, looking from Vlad to me and back again, his teeth dangerously close to being bared. His nose wrinkled like he was smelling something foul. "What are you two doing here?" "What? Can't we come out and support the team?" "Not during practice. We don't need any distractions." "Now get!" A sharp swat of his hand through the air, ordering us away. I felt an instinctual glance at the familiar gesture, but took a deep breath while pressing my lips tight together. "We're not here to cause problems. We just wanted to come by and see how things are going." "How nice of you. But as I said, we don't need any distractions. What's going on over here?" The snarl dropped off of Leon's face. He straightened up and turned to the polar bear with a slight differential tilt of his head. By all appearances, right back to how he'd been on Monday. I saw these two approaching the field and wanted to tell them to leave so they don't get in the way. Actually, Coach, 3 pairs of eyes darted over to me as I took a slight step forward. We were just passing by and wanted to, Coach crossed his arms while looking both the vulture and I up and down. "It's a little late for walk-ons. Get with your counselor at the end of the semester if you want to try out for the JV team." "Oh no, that wasn't what I meant. We just wanted to hang out and watch for a while, if that's okay. We'll stay out of the way, no distractions or anything like that." Standing tall, meeting his gaze but keeping a deferential stance, the polar bear grunted, then hummed in consideration and then let out a heavy sigh. What the hell? It's a free country. Just don't cause any problems for the players and don't hang around too long." "Of course, sir, Coach." Leon cleared his throat, loud and sharp. He, too, was keeping a deferential stance in the polar bear's presence but wasn't making any attempt to steal the lashing of his tail. "Coach, this is the first practice of the semester, and considering the changes we've had to make, I don't think we should allow for anything that will break the team's focus. You just put your focus on getting the varsity team back on track for now. If these two cause trouble, then we'll deal with it." "Understood." After one more stern glance between all 3 of us, Coach turned and walked back over to the groups on the sidelines, calling out for everyone there to peel off and start up side shuffles. Leon's lips curled into another sneer as he stared at me. As Coach said, "Don't cause trouble, and don't hang around for too long. I'll be watching you." With that and one more lash of his tail, he turned and stalked off towards the group out on the field, snarling again at Gary and Yusuf. I'm not sure why, but something tells me we won't be getting anything out of him. Yeah. My attention had already wandered back over to Camille and the team members he was hanging out with. It seemed that they were taking a break, sipping on water, and resting their sweaty bodies. "Well, you did say it would be better to talk to the team, right? That we could probably get some answers from them." "That I did, and I think I'll let you take the lead on this one, huh? But didn't you want to? Let's face it, Camille and his friends will be a lot more chatty with you than they will be with the school freak. I'll be right behind you listening in. Might even be better that way. You do the talking, I'll do the thinking." "Alright, if you're sure." Deep breath in, slow, even breath out. This time, I led the way as we headed towards the bleachers, Vlad hanging back behind me while I approached Camille and his friends. "Hey, Rex. What brings you here?" His smile was stiff, his tail and ears were flicking, his gaze was directed over my shoulder. I did my best to put an easygoing smile on my own, or put an easy smile of my own on my face, ignoring the gathering tension between my shoulder blades. Just wanted to come check things out, hang out for a while before heading back home. I coughed, glancing at Camille's friends. Don't want to get in the way or anything? Nah, don't worry about it. The more the merrier. If Coach says it's cool, it should be fine. The Komodo dragon nodded in agreement, shifted his gaze from me to Camille to Vlad, then back again. You're friends with Camille? Yeah, Rex. Good to meet you guys. Kyle, and likewise. The panther slung an arm around Camille's shoulders, jostling him around. Don't just stand there staring off into space, man. Introduce us. Oh yeah, right. With his gaze still averted, he gestured to the panda and then to the shark. Rex, this is Reggie and Sal. Sal, Reggie, Rex. Yo. Hey. I think we have held class together, Reggie. We do, huh? So I kinda been cruising through the class, so... Hey, it's fine. I mean, considering what happened and classes getting all messed up because of it, I could practically taste the southern tension in the air, sharp and bitter. Yeah. Shit, that had probably been the exact wrong thing to say. Vlad was watching, hanging back to listen and make sense of everything. He was counting on me. I actually wanted to ask you guys about that. Kind of think of it, I mean, I didn't really know Tucker, so... sure. I mean, I don't see why not, I guess. I'm not sure that's such a good idea, Rex. Yeah, kind of a sore subject still, you know? And I get that, but, like, what happened to him was really weird, wasn't it? Saul grunted, looking out over at the field. Camille shifted from foot to foot, his tail flicking all the harder. Reggie stared at the ground, while Kyle looked at me for a moment before speaking. I guess we're all kind of still freaking out about it, especially after the party. Yeah, I kind of heard about it. And there was Liam, still getting on the other's case. It looked like he was really laying into an antler-horned dragon for following the ball or something. A commotion out on the field caught my attention. Liam was in the middle of chewing out an antler-horned dragon for some mistake or other. Is that what's gotten into Liam all of a sudden? He wasn't like this yesterday. More attention not directed at me this time. Yeah, he's been really intense all day today. He's being a dick. He's just taking his new position really seriously. Uh-huh. And do you know what's up with the... I gestured towards my scalp, looking over at the other males. Wesley scratched himself behind the ear, while Saul and Kyle exchanged a glance and shrugged. No, he came in like that this morning. Maybe the dye is seeping into his brain or something. That can't actually happen, right? How was he treating you guys yesterday? More shared glances between the four other males. Fine. Like he wasn't all up his own ass like he is today. Yeah. I mean, he did leave pretty early after we all voted him in as team captain. You voted for him? Yeah, it keeps the captain responsible to the team. Yeah, it keeps the captain responsible to the team and all that. I glanced over to the lion, still yelling his head off out on the field. I see. What happened was really hard on all of us. We're all trying to cope right now. Things are just in a really weird place. Perhaps that was true, but it didn't exactly make Liam seem any less suspicious. Maybe something had happened to the lion overnight to make him switch up his attitude. Maybe he really was just having a hard time coping with Tucker's death. Or maybe Vlad was right, and he really was showing his true colors now that he could step in as the new king of the jungle. So he had to leave early yesterday, and when he came back, his demeanor changed drastically. But we always see this when I did Camille's route. Just yelling and getting angry and scolding the teammates. So we get to see him act like that again in Vlad's route. So I don't know if maybe that really was him all this time, and he just was a bit more composed about it. But now that he's the leader, the captain himself now, with Tucker gone, he really can show off his true self. But again, maybe he went out somewhere and somebody told him that they expect him to be real hard on the football team, and he had to adapt to a more strict and nastier attitude. I don't know who it is. Maybe it was Tucker's parents, because in the last update, Vlad's day 2, it was mentioned that both Liam and Tucker knew each other since they were kids, and that both of their families were rich, and their families did business with each other. So I don't know, maybe the families themselves attended this school a long time ago, and they're kind of into the school, and I don't know, maybe they want Liam to be real tough. I don't know what happened during that time Liam had to go, but I'm just speculating. I may be wrong, probably wrong, but anyway. I'll save here. In case I made the wrong decision, so like I gestured. I only just met him on Monday, so I don't know if this is weird for him or the norm or what. More serious glances, more tension hanging in the air like a foul odor. I mean, he was always kind of quiet before. I describe him as more stuck up myself. Tucker was, well, Tucker, and more of 10 than not, Leon was always the one running around to clean up after him. I wouldn't say that. I mean, well, dude, you can say it. Tucker could be a real piece of shit. Kyle cleared his throat, giving Saul a pointed look, flicking his eyes over at me, then back towards the Sark. Well, I think I'm all rested up. Gonna head on back out there. Yeah, I'm gonna get back out there too. Don't want Coach don't want Coach or the captain to think we're stacking off. Alright, I don't mean to keep you guys. Hey, it's no problem. I'm gonna keep hanging out and hydrating for a bit. He sipped a plastic cup of water in his hand. But we ain't all. Right. Well, see you around, Rex. Yeah, see you around. With that, the Panda and Komodo Dragon put their helmets back on and tried to back out onto the field. Kyle's right. We really shouldn't be dawdling. Sorry, Rex. It's fine, I get it. Like I said, I don't want to interrupt you guys' practice. Just like you know. Why are you asking about all this anyway? His eyes kept darting over my shoulder, looking from me to the vultures standing behind me. Deep breath in, slow and even, then blow it right back out along with all the tension. I guess I'm just trying to make sense in my head. Anyway, I guess I'm just trying to make sense in my head. What happened to Tucker and why it happened and everything. He's taking a deep breath of his own, letting it out in a heavy gust. Alright, yeah, okay. Saul just looked back and forth between the two of us, taking a slow sip of his water. I could hear Vlad clearing his throat behind me, the sound quiet, unobtrusive, but prompting. So yeah, you guys knew Tucker best, and since he was last seen at the party, I just thought you guys would be the best ones to talk to. There was another waft of accurate tension in the air at the midst of the party, but I pushed on regardless. Do you guys remember anything weird going on with Tucker or with Liam or anything else? Saul huffed. Well, there was that thing with the bunny chick. Yeah, I did hear about that. It's not something he normally goes around doing. I mean, it wasn't something he did. Not that any of us ever heard about, at least. He was just really drunk that night. I mean, everyone was going pretty hard with the alcohol. So that wasn't normal for him then? No, it wasn't. Another flick of the crocodile's ear, another sharp lash of his tail. If he was getting that worked up about it, then I could probably take him at his word. Before I could think of how to proceed, however, Leon's voice rang out, directed over at us. Camille, Saul, get your asses back out onto the field now. Guess that's our cue. They'll start down the rest of his water, then toss his cup into the trash bin near the bleachers. Camille, meanwhile, grabbed his helmet and prepared to put it back on. Wait, huh? What is it? I did have one more thing I wanted to ask since I had the opportunity. You know what? Liam to yell at them even more. I mean, just one more question. Let's see right here. The crocodile blinked at that, then gave me a shrug. Just hanging out as usual, really. Keeping an eye on things, meaning Tucker, of course. Why? Just curious. I mean, he was pretty much Tucker's keeper, right? Put it mildly. Though he did leave pretty soon after Tucker did. Would have thought he'd make sure he got home safe, but let's see. Before I could say anything else, Coates made his way back over. Everything all right over here? Yes, sir. Good. I think it's about time you move along then. Camille, Saul, get out on the field with the rest of the team. Just because it's the first practice of the year doesn't mean you can slack off. Got it? Yes, Coach. See you later, Rex. Yeah, later. So yeah, that's about the gist of it. Not a lot to go off of. Well, at least you got to watch all those big stray football players running around and tackling each other, right? Shut up, Todd. After all, but getting kicked off the practice field, Vlad and I had made our way over to Freaks to meet up with Victor and Todd. The Snake and Vulture were both working that night, but they still had some downtime before their performances. And Vlad had wanted to try getting them involved in the investigation again to get some outside perspectives at least. So we all grabbed a table and sat down together. Victor had ordered something alcoholic, and I sipped on one of the water bottles available to red banners, while both Todd and Vlad abstained for the moment. And after settling in, the Vulture and I told them how our first day of investigating had gone. Though I'll admit, I was a little distracted. But yes, it wasn't quite as informative as I hoped. Still, for his first time, Rex did pretty good. Okay, so I guess these are the stripes. Oh, he's wearing a shirt, or these, like, like the color pattern on his scales. I think that's what he looks like with no shirt on. Kind of thought he was wearing a shirt, but that's him without no shirt on. So yeah, that's the color pattern he has on. I mean, that's the color pattern of his scales there. And yeah. Considering how hard he went, I think I'm pretty damn satisfied with your performance. Yeah. I'll swallow crossing my legs and pressing my thighs tight together, keeping my eyes on the other males' faces and not on Todd's or Vlad's exposed torsos, doing my best to ignore the pulsing heat in my face and below my waist. You're still convinced Liam had something to do with it? I'm convinced that something is up with him, just like something was up with Tucker on the night of the party. If Rex's friends is to be believed. With that, what that is, however, remains to be seen. At the very least, leaving the party around the same time Tucker did does make him much more suspicious. Yeah. The vulture looked over at me, his gaze lingering on my flushed face and averted eyes. And after a long moment, he smirked and sat back in his chair, putting more of himself on display. You doing all right there? You're looking a little distracted. Yeah, I'm fine. Just, I took a long sip of my water, trying to quench the fire raging in my loins. Focus and get it together, Rex. Todd hissed out a quiet laugh and reached over to pat my shoulder. You don't have to be embarrassed. The dress code's way more relaxed tonight. He gestured towards the other patrons who were filtering into the lounge area. Indeed, more than a few, mostly the yellow or green banners, were also showing off a lot more fur, scales, or feathers than I was used to seeing, which did absolutely nothing to solve my not-so-little problem. Yeah, I know. Vlad told me about nude night, but I wasn't expecting underwear night, too. Yeah, it's pretty nice, and also really nice that it's not really compulsory. Come on, Vic. You should join us. A light prod on the snake's elbow against the bat's side. Get those clothes off and show Rex how comfortable we can all get with each other. Victor's gaze lingered on me for a moment as well, then he shrugged with a small smirk of his own. I don't think he's ready for what I'm packing. I told him my water at that, but even as I coughed and sputtered, and even as the three other males burst out into laughter at my expense, both Vlad and Todd reached over to give my back a few firm pats, while Victor lifted his glass with a more sincere smile. Ha ha, very funny, guys. I thought it was, yes. Seriously, though, even when we're doing a theme night, don't feel like you have to participate. It's fine to just look, so long as you don't touch. Yeah, I know. Red banner. He nodded, watched my face for a moment longer, shifted in his seat, and then shrugged. I mean, I suppose you could have worn the pair I gave you on Monday if you really wanted to. It was pretty clear he meant that as a joke. Maybe, but that would have been kind of weird, wouldn't it? Hey, this place is called Freaks for a reason. A quiet croaking laugh as he gave my back another firm pat. Victor and Todd just looked from me to the vulture to each other, the expressions conspiratorial and knowing glint in their eyes. Before they or Vlad could tease me any further, however, Ryan made his way over to join us, fully clothed. I was grateful for the distraction, though a very particular part of me was also a little disappointed about not getting a look at what the squirrel was packing. Hey, Ryan. Hey, good to see you. You came back, Rex. Are you doing alright over there? Huh? We're just hanging out and making ourselves comfortable. I can see that. With a warm smile, he looked from me over to Vlad and Todd. Just give you boys a heads up that it's about time to head backstage. Alright, we're going. Are you performing tonight too? Nah, it's my night off, but I will be mingling with the crowd to make it sure everyone's having a good time. Well, if you need a place to sit, we got 2 spots that just now opened up. Vlad huffed in response to that, but the corners of his beak were turned up into a small smile. I see how it fits. You've gotten bored of me and are moving on to your next fling. Oh, whoa. Oh, don't be like that. Think of it as me keeping your seat warm while you're up on stage. If only I had a big old hunk to warm my seat. Hey, you never know. Tonight might be your night. He looked at his drink again, this time in Vlad's and Todd's direction. Break a leg, boys. As Todd rose to saunter off towards the door, leading backstage, Vlad switched places with Ryan, the vulture moving to stand by my shoulder while the squirrel settled into the vacated seat next to me. Have a good show, Vlad. I always do. Make sure you have lots of fun too. Drop your inhibitions and let the truth of yourself flourish, right? Right, will do. With that and a brief wave to the 3 of us, Vlad made his way off as well. Drop your inhibitions, huh? The squirrel let out a quiet, awkward laugh. Yeah, I told Wicked that slogan was a mouthful, but he insisted. Good thing Todd already left, or else I'm sure he would have turned that into a innuendo. He chuckled, taking a slow sip. He let out a long, eerie sigh of satisfaction afterwards. He leaned back into his seat and looked over at me. Penny for your thoughts, Rex? Huh? Uh-huh. Heat bloomed across my snout once more. I swallowed, then hesitated, then looked over to Ryan. Are you guys hiring performers? Well, we always welcome new talent to the stage, but you do kind of have to be 21 to apply. Oh. I ducked my head, the heat stinging my cheeks sharper and less pleasant. That made sense, and what I'd been thinking was probably a bad idea anyway. I doubted that Dr. Abraham would approve of me staying out so late to work. Especially to perform in front of so many animals like Vlad, Todd, and Ryan. But I kept thinking about those words, that slogan, let the truth of yourself flourish. Like a thorn I couldn't dig out, it kept prickling and itching in my mind. The truth of myself. I must not have hidden my disappointment as well as I wanted to. Ryan leaned over and reached to give my hand a reassuring pat. But Fridays do just so happen to be open mic night. We even hold a little competition to see who's the best amateur performer, though of course the prizes we offer are different for red banners. And if you want to dress up for it, we can provide outfits and help with makeup. So long as you don't plan on going too crazy with things, of course, liabilities and all that. Right, makes sense. Still what he had said got my thoughts racing in a more pleasant way, in the tip of my tail twitching with anticipation. It sounded fun. I think I'll have to come back for that on Friday. You'll be more than welcome. And I'll be here to cheer you on. I gave them both an eager smile response, but any further conversation would have to wait. The lights dimmed and the show began. I stayed as late as I could watching the performances, enjoying the music and cheering along with the crowd. Chatting with Ryan and Victor as well as Vlad and Todd during their breaks. By the time I finally left to start making my way back to the lab complex, any thoughts of Tucker, Leon, or what had happened had left my mind like remnants of a bad dream. Instead, my thoughts were filled with visions of sleek black feathers under the bright stage lights and of joining the vulture there in shameless and audacious freedom. What's up? Let's build as day 3 of Vlad's route to the game. Vlad and Red started their private investigation into the murder of Tucker by first talking to the football team. The info they got from the team was interesting to say the least, and then they decided to cool down by visiting freaks during underwear night. So what did you think of this day? Music in my ears. Wonderful to have you in my company. Now do me a favor and rate the game if you haven't. I'm kind of obliged to ask you this since you like it so much. Tell me your thoughts on Vlad. He's certainly unique compared to all the pieces of meat in this game. The darker that night bird has certainly taken a liking to you. Good for you. Consider yourself lucky. Join Chelly's Patreon to get early access to new builds and other benefits such as a guide, commentary, and work in progress art in the higher tiers. Just click on the white button on the left to become a patron. So Chelly's taking a break, huh? It has been pretty busy lately for him. However, that just means that he has more energy to work on the game whenever he gets back to work on it. I hope you guys are patient for what he has in store for you. It's sure to be good. Tell Chelly to get Bellator to bloom out hiatus. It's getting a little lonely. Today's war of the HAB is number 36. Remember to temper your expectations. There's a chance you'll delude yourself in desperation. It's always a good feeling to be excited and hyped for something, but remember that it might not go as planned. The best way to avoid disappointment is to never expect anything at all, or something like that. And I'm finished. I'm going to leave things like this. Ladies and sexy peoples. Alright, so that's day 3 for Vlad. So we got to see, what's his name again? To scroll out his we get to see him out of character. It's his off day. So yeah, he got a big belly there. So some things about Tucker from the football team. But so they said that the members of the football team said that it was very much unlike Tucker to get drunk. And it was not usual for him to be drunk at all. So plus, not long after Tucker left the party, Leon left the party also, shortly after Tucker. So that makes him even more suspicious. So there's still more to know about Liam and what happened that night, but that's about all we know so far. So this route here for Liam is, like I said in the last update, at the end, like I said at the end of the last update, this here is very much focused on the plot, like on the mystery, the murder mystery for Tucker, while the others are more like romance, or you get to spend more time with the character and to get to know more about them. Now, I'm still will get to know more about Vlad, but we haven't gotten to that point yet. So far, it's been Vlad and and Rex trying to figure out this mystery with Tucker. And that's only one though. I'm gonna go to the Codex. It has strong connections to the Thompson family as well as the Abraham Library. It leans neither towards conservative nor liberal politically. The mascot is the mammoth. I think it's good to have a kind of a balance politically between liberal and conservative. You know, you get insights on both sides. You know, both sides understand the other more. A lot of liberals, you know, I'm a liberal myself, but you know, sometimes you got to understand what the other side is thinking. If you don't agree with a lot of what they say, you know. Or maybe you do, but yeah, personally, I don't agree with a lot what the conservative side says, but you know, even so, you still gotta understand them, you know. And so with conservatives, you know, they got to understand the liberal side also. So who is the Thompson family? Is that Tucker? Yeah, that's Tucker Thompson. He's an important person to the school for various reasons. So it has strong connections to the Thompson family. So we do know that they're a very influential, a very influential, a very influential and powerful family. So I think, you know, they must have pissed. I mean, whoever this person was, either Tucker himself pissed him off, or maybe the other people in the family might piss him off also. So maybe the father did something bad, and that person decided to take on the father by killing his son, or maybe it was Tucker directly. But I believe, you know, them being a powerful family has something to do with it. And since the school has connections to them. New ones for the other. There's some new ones. You know, where are they at? Hmm. Here you are. Okay, I thought he'd be taller. This is a polar bear. I think he'd be well over 6 feet tall, but it's odd that he's only 5'9". Because Connor, he's a chicken. He's 6'2", so kind of surprising. A polar bear me actually smaller than a 6'2" chicken. What is it with bears being both coaches and teachers? Anyways, Peyton actually hit his first name as he doesn't like to reveal his last name to people. He's quite intimidating, but you can trust him to kick college students into gear. What? Do you expect me to say he's a good guy at heart? Well, I'll let you decide if that's true or not. I'd be taller than that. Rex is 6 feet tall, so I'm just saying. I mean, I think he'd be a lot taller than that. Be a polar bear, but anyway. Okay, so I don't think we'll see another update again until like sometime in June. At least that's what the creator says. So it's gonna be a little while until we continue with Vlad's route. So that's all. Thank you all very much for watching. Goodbye.